Carney U-turns on support for Trump's Iran strikes, Mark Carney has backtracked on his support for the US military campaign against Iran. In an initial statement on Sunday, the Canadian Prime Minister expressed support for the attacks and said they were necessary to prevent Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon. But speaking in Sydney on Wednesday, he told reporters that the strikes appeared to be inconsistent with international law. Mr Carney joined a chorus of world leaders speaking out against the joint US-Israeli operation, which entered its fifth day on Wednesday. Emmanuel Macron, the French president, said on Tuesday that while Iran bore responsibility for the war, the attacks by the US and Israel were outside the bounds of international law. He was the second Western leader to question the legality of the conflict outright after Pedro Sanchez, the Spanish Prime Minister, criticised the spiral of violence. Mr Sanchez reiterated his stance on Wednesday morning in a defiant address to the nation, telling the US President, "No to war." The left-wing leader said, "Our position is coherent. We are not going to go against our own values out of fear of someone's threats." An independent UN inquiry has also condemned the attacks by Israel and US. On Wednesday, the UN Independent International Fact-Finding Mission on Iran said, "These attacks, which were followed by Iran's retaliatory strikes across the region, run counter to the UN Charter, which prohibits the use of force against the territorial integrity or political independence of any state." For Mr Carney's about-turn sets Canada on a collision course with Mr Trump, who threatened Spain with an outright trade embargo as punishment for its refusal to allow the US to use its bases to bomb Iran. The US President has also been critical of Sir Keir Starmer, who has not publicly questioned the legality of the war, but said earlier this week that the UK government did not support regime change from the skies. Mr Trump said he was not happy with the lack of support from Britain and accused Sir Keir of tarnishing relationships by initially refusing to allow US bombers to use Diego Garcia, the joint military base on the Chagos Islands, to launch strikes on Tehran. "This is not Winston Churchill we're dealing with," Mr Trump told reporters in the Oval Office, echoing criticisms he had made to the Telegraph on Sunday night. "They ruin relationships. It's a shame." Mr Carney's comments on Wednesday morning came after his initial support for the war, expressed in the immediate aftermath of the strikes. His statement on Sunday read, "Canada supports the United States acting to prevent Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon and to prevent its regime from further threatening international peace and security." The Canadian leader rode back slightly on Tuesday, calling for de-escalation and saying he supported the strikes with regret. He appeared to commit a full U-turn when speaking in Australia on Wednesday morning, describing the conflict as a failure of the international order.